Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. In our last video, we said that Xi Jinping's zero COVID policy had become his latest rotten tail project. How will this U-turn of COVID control policy affect China and the Chinese people? Also, are there any new developments with Chinese people's fight back against the CCP? Has the A4 revolution already died out? Today, I'd like to talk about these issues. The sudden U-turn of the CCP's zero-COVID policy has surprised many people. After a short period of confusion, many cities and communities got the message and started relaxing control or doing nothing. Before this U-turn, the CCP had been attacking other countries for lying flat, saying that other countries were lying flat and doing nothing about COVID, as they didn't care about how many people have died, and only the CCP cared about people's lives and safety, etc. The CCP spokesman Zhao Lijian also once even said, "You should feel really lucky to be able to live in China." How is the situation in China now? If you go to the CCP's mouthpiece Xinhua, you can hardly see any report at all. But in the real world, because of the lack of preparation, in some places, hospitals are overwhelmed. At some hospitals, people have to wait for 5 hours to be admitted. Let's watch a video first. The video shows that in front of the fever department of Tongji Hospital, the line is so long that it extends from the hospital all the way to the Sky Bridge.
抬到天桥上去了。
Well, this is a hospital in Wuhan. In front of the fever clinic, there was a long line of patients. They lined up from inside the clinic room to the parking lot. And this is a fever clinic at the hospital in Dazhou, Sichuan province in China. And this is a waiting line outside a fever clinic at a hospital in Hebei province. And the following video is from Zeng Hospital in Shenyang City.
哎，这人。
What's more concerning is that netizens are reporting many death cases and that the crematoriums are also overwhelmed because of the sudden deaths. Let's watch a video showing a lot of cars waiting in front of a crematorium. Well, I cannot independently verify the video, but the Chinese characters at the end of the video do say Babaoshan, which is a famous crematory in Beijing, and the plate of the first car in the video also says Jing A-GT339, etc. Jing represents Beijing, so this car does come from Beijing. So from the car plate and the Chinese character at the end of the video, it looks like there really are that many cars waiting outside the Babaoshan crematorium. The reason I'm leaning toward the video being true is that there are other people saying the same thing. This post says, my father passed away at home today. I have contacted many funeral homes in Beijing, but they all said that they don't have a cooler to store any more bodies. The Qinghua Changgen Hospital and Wangfu Hospital near my home also said they have no more space in their mortuaries. Initially, Wangfu Hospital said they had space, but after we got my father's body, they said no more space. So we had to get the body back home. Now my father has been dead for 3 hours and his body is still at home. I called 110. By the way, 110 is the police number in China. I called 110 and they transferred me to the police station. But the police station also couldn't help me. They asked me to call 12345. By the way, 12345 is the hotline for the residents in Beijing to seek help from the government. But no one answered the 12345 calls. And this is Beijing. There is no place to put a dead person's body. I cannot put it at home, can I? Who can help me? From this, we can know how bad the situation was. The person said that his or her home is near Wangfu Hospital, and the hospital initially said they still had space, but when they arrived there, no more space. So it must be that during the short period of time from the time when they made the phone call to the time when they arrived at the hospital, some other bodies had taken up all the spaces and the mortuary. This post says that a postgraduate student in the clinical department of West China Medical Center of Sichuan University died of cardiac arrest while working today. He tested positive and had a fever for 3 days, but while still working, he did surgeries for 9 hours on Saturday, and he was only 23 years old. As for the general public, just like how they rushed to buy food and daily necessities in panic during the lockdown, they are now rushing to buy medications. The situation in Wuhan is the same. At the same time, many people are very afraid of being infected, so the streets are even quieter than before. See, this is a shelf at a drugstore in Beijing. Cold and cough drugs are almost sold out. This is a subway car in Beijing. The number of passengers is a lot less than usual. This is an empty street in Beijing. And this is a high-end office building in Beijing. And this is a restaurant in Beijing. Although dining inside the restaurant is allowed now, no customers yet. This sign at Beijing Haidian Hospital says all the pharmacists here have been infected and they are working with sickness. Please be tolerant of us. The following video shows that on December 11th, 4 days after the lockdowns were lifted, there were still very few people outside in Beijing, but a lot of people at the hospital.
今天一个顾客都没有，外边可冷清了，进门的时候都没人。
没人排队，这么长队。12月11号上午的11点，公交站就我一个人啊，半天也没有来车了啊，路上也没有车。
你们看啊
，12月11号上午的11点，公交站就我一个人啊，半天也没有来车了啊，路上也没有车。
So this is the train coming to Beijing. This is subway in Beijing. So she's saying altogether
你
there
们
are
看啊，
only
是大周
3
日的， 除
people.
了导购一个顾客都没有。
So
哎呀，我
this
感觉
is
今天比我第一天
shocking
来还惨，
move.
第一天来还有顾客呢，今天一
And
个顾客都没有。
on a
外
Sunday
面可冷清
morning,
了，进门的时候都没人。
no more
人排队
people
这么
here.
长队，
And this
哦，太
is
够长了。
outside the fever clinic in
今年的冬
Beijing.
天发热门诊，
A long,
这么长
long
的队，
night.
急救中心，
This is
Oh,
the
fire.
emergency treatment department. There are also many people here.
啊，这么多人，这几个对，发热门诊，看看这边3期阳啊，等着做核酸的，这是单管1的，所有这些人都是10管1，
So
等着排队
these
做单管的，
people, yes,
看多
are
人，
also
现
waiting
在3期阳啊，
to be admitted in hospital. And this is people lining up in the middle of the night
还
to
不错
buy
啊，现在是
medication.
美团都关了，然后现在只能出来排队啊。现在买药的是从早上一直排到晚上，就没停过啊，一直是排。
So these people are
现在好多地
waiting
方
to buy
都是这样的情况，我觉得不
medications.
必要恐慌，没必要去恐慌。真的是啊，牌匾都不敢开了，牌匾都关了，全是买药的。看看这情况，
So everybody is here to buy medications.
看看我们家这羊了。
So this person, wrapped himself in a plastic bag, and he said, "Oh, his family got infected." Again, this is a drug store in Beijing. Basically, a lot of people are waiting either to be admitted in the hospital or buying drugs. The following video shows that because many people are sick, the goods at the crucial point are piling up.
我的天哪，怪不得送的慢呢，都爆仓了，妈呀！哎呦天，我的天哪！
It is said that it is very difficult to recruit any more delivery boys, and all the current ones are sick. Why is the situation so bad in Beijing? Okay, let's show another post. This post says that it is because the virus strain is different in Beijing. What is being spread in Beijing is now BF.7, and this strain is said to be the most virulent subdivision in the Omicron family, with greater immunity escape, shorter incubation period, and faster transmission. The CCP's mouthpiece Global Times also said that BF.7 is the mainstream in Beijing. Experts are predicting that over 2 million could die in China going forward. Some others also worry that new mutations could appear in China, given the large population there, and this will in turn affect the rest of the world. This 2 million figure was calculated based on the figures in Hong Kong last year. But the problem is, in Hong Kong, many people received the BioNTech vaccine, which is far more effective than Chinese-produced vaccines. This is a table I downloaded from the Hong Kong government website. It shows how many people have received what kind of vaccine. The numbers vary from different age groups and different administration times. We can say that for the second dose, from the 12 to 19 age group to the 40 to 49 age group, there were more people receiving Pfizer's BioNTech vaccine than China's Sinovac. So, given the much lower effectiveness of Chinese vaccines, the death toll in China could be much, much higher. When I shared the video of cars lining up outside the Babaosan Crematorium in Beijing. Someone left a comment saying that no way, COVID is mild. This is just propaganda from the CCP trying to justify the lockdowns, etc. Well, maybe for many people living in other countries, COVID is mild, especially the Omicron strain. But we must bear in mind that the situation is very different in China. China has been under very strict lockdown for 3 years. Most of the people have never been exposed to the virus, so a lot of them don't have immunity yet, especially when the vaccines are not that effective. Many other countries experienced short lockdowns and gradual reopening after massive vaccination. So the medical system was basically able to handle the patients who did need ICU. But in China, it is like the CCP first tried to build a dam to block the flood. Then the water level rose. They built a higher and higher dam. And then one day they suddenly found the dam couldn't build any higher. As the heavy rain kept pouring down, they suddenly blasted open the dam without giving any warning to the public who live downstream. As a result, the people all drowned to death. And this was actually exactly what happened in 1975 with the so-called Banqiao Dam failure in Henan province in China. This is a photo after the dam collapsed. To make a long story short, the Banqiao Dam was built in the 1950s during the Great Leap Forward movement, as everything had to be done fast. Although the initial design was to build 12 drainage gates, only 7 were built. Later on, 2 were blocked, so in the end, only 5 were left. Then, in August 1975, Typhoon Nina hit China. Banqiao Dam and 61 other dams in Henan province all collapsed, flooding around 30 cities and counties, equaling 12,000 square kilometers or 3 million acres. According to the CCP's own number, 85.6 thousand people drowned in the flood, and there were about 240,000 more people who died of diseases and famine after the flood. This is the deadliest flood in the history of the CCP regime. How could so many people be killed? Well, this is a perfect example of failure of the government's early warning system. On August 7th, leaks were already found, but the telephone system and road traffic in the reservoir area had already been interrupted on August 5th. One killer had to walk on foot to report the situation on August 6th. On August 7, the authorities decided to blast open the dam to release the water, but there were no explosives to blast it. Then the local army had to raise 2 red signal bombs and fire warning shots into the air. But the heavy rain caused the signal bombs to be invisible beyond only 50 meters, and the sound of the gunfire was also covered by the heavy rain, so nobody heard or saw anything. Then, starting at 1 a.m. on August 8th, Banqiao Dam and the other 61 dams all collapsed in a matter of hours. The water was more than 1 meters higher than the dam and rose to 117.94 meters. So, because of the warning system failure, nobody downstream received any warning. So that's a tragedy in the 1970s. But I never heard about it when I was in China. The most dangerous thing is people don't know the true situation and cannot properly prepare themselves. The CCP hasn't changed for the better, nor learned any lessons from previous tragedies. Right now, the CCP is again covering up the truth and creating false numbers. See the national case numbers released by the CCP's National Health Commission. We know that the CCP eased up control since the so-called 10 new mayors were announced on December 7th. One would expect that the case numbers would rise sharply after that, but the official numbers are decreasing. Do you believe it? Even Hu Xijin, former chief editor of the CCP's mouthpiece Global Times, said he didn't believe it and blamed the Health Commission for releasing fake numbers. So nobody really knows the true situation. One public account at a media outlet in China conducted an online survey and asked people in Beijing how about the infection situation. According to this survey, about 52% of the people in Beijing said they had already tested positive. 25%, if the ratio is right, then 5 million in Beijing have been infected, as there were about 21 million people in Beijing. But the official number for Beijing on December 12th is only 8 cases. 5 million versus 8. If anybody were to make a decision based on the CCP's official numbers, how far away would that decision be from the right one? However, there are also reports that the lockdown hasn't eased up. For example, I received an email from someone saying that he's currently in Wuhan. Despite all the talking about lifting all the restrictions, nothing has changed in the school he teaches. The school keeps coming up with rules which look exactly like before or even tougher. This post is from Shenzhen City, saying they are still lining up in the rain to do the test, as his boss requires a test for them to work, as they work on 3 shifts. But the few remaining test sites are only open during the day, so sometimes it is very hard for them to find a test site that is still open after they get off work. This is a photo showing people doing tests in the rain in Shenzhen City. So the overall situation is still quite a mess in China, with the Chinese New Year coming at the end of January. More people will be traveling for a family reunion. This could also make the situation worse. That's why some people say that Xi Jinping is not only the chief accelerator, but is also drunk driving now. And unfortunately, at this point, the Chinese people have no way to stop him. Next, I'd like to talk about the protests in China in Chinese universities. Let's watch a video first. Well, this happened yesterday, that's December 12th. Graduate students from Jiangxi Medical College of Nanchang University gathered to protest. Now another one. This video shows graduate students at Xuzhou Medical University in China had gathered to protest yesterday. The following video was from Sichuan North Medical College in Sichuan Nanchong University. Well, this protest also happened yesterday. Protests also happened at Fuzhou University in Fujian City, the first hospital affiliated with Kunming Medical University in Yunnan Province, and the first affiliated hospital of Nanjing Medical University in Jiangsu Province. So on the same day, protests broke out in at least 6 universities. Most of them are medical universities. Graduate students were forced to work in the hospitals but weren't properly paid, or they were forced to work without proper protection. So they protested and demanded the same payment as former employees, as they are doing the same job. This shows from another angle that hospitals must be overwhelmed, so graduate students at medical universities are forced to work like other doctors and nurses. But my point here is China protests have not died out, as many people regard the end of the severe lockdowns as a victory for the people. More people would want to protest in the future. Although the scales and pursuits of the protests may be small, every step forward means one step backward for the CCP. Steady, small steps can also get you to a very far end, right? Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel. If you are already subscribed, please like and share my content and check if you are still subscribed. Also, if you could, please go to my website at jenniferzengblog.com, jenniferzengblog.com, and sign up for membership or make a donation to support my truth-telling efforts. Thank you. See you next time.